All content is publicly sourced and used under the USA Fair Use and UK Fair Dealing Guidelines. The things I say are strictly my opinion. Good afternoon, or evening, everyone. I don't know, it's that tricky time of the day where it's not evening, it's still kind of afternoon, so what would you call it? Good afternoon evening? I don't know. Haven't really thought that deep about it. Anyway, it's the Bizzy Bee with the not quite royal anymore tea. Hope you've all had a great Tuesday, the 20th of October. My, the Halloween is almost here. Do you all have your costumes picked out? I sure do. More on that later. Before we get started, I have something I want to show you on Twitter. Yesterday in the video, I talked about this new portrait of the two of them and that pose that she always does where she's looking away and she looks like she's laughing. Well, someone on Twitter posted a GIF. Is that what you call it? GIF? GIF? I'm not sure. Anyways, they posted this and it shows her making that pose when the camera's being clicked. So let's take a look at that. I really want to show this to you all. Here we go. See? And look, nobody else is laughing. There's nothing funny being said. It really trips me out. It honestly does. She looks down, laughs, looks away from the camera, laughs, pulls her hair back. Look, she's merching something that she's wearing. It's probably the bracelet and her earrings. This is back in the days, I guess, when she was still hanging out with, what's the girl's name that she was selling the jewelry with? And Buckingham Palace sent a letter to the lady. Oh, shoot, she used to be married to Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire. I can't remember her name. Anyway, let's get started. So, where were we? Okay. Today was my birthday, the 19th of October. You never mention my comments, but I love you anyway. Your laugh is adorable. Maybe for my birthday, you can mention this fantastic comment. Your channel is really fun. Every photo of Smegs puts out is photoshopped to the hilt. Whoa. I gotta stop you right there, Ms. Alice. I don't think that Smegs would ever use Photoshop. I'm kind of insulted that you would make that insinuation. I feel insulted for Smegs. Moving on. I'm part Danish, so having Prince George as your royal is kismet, lol. Your games keep this channel very unique and just a gas. Cheers. Thank you very much, Alice. I really appreciate that. And happy belated birthday, ma'am. And you know I was kidding about the Photoshop, okay? We all know that that is her BFF, besides Oprah, Gayle, Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, Maya Angelou, from the grave, of course. The list goes on. You are hilarious. She is Wallace Simpson to the T. He's a moron, married to a stupid cow. The reason I wanted to point that out, that comment out, is because if any of you have ever seen the King's Speech, then you will remember a scene where they were at this is during the reign of Edward VIII, the Queen Mother, who would become the Queen Mother, and the future George VI, then the Duke and Duchess of York, were at Sandringham, I believe, and Wallace and Edward were there, and they were throwing a party, and Wallace was acting like the grand dame of the party. She was running the show. The Queen Mother and Winston Churchill had an aside. They spoke to each other, and the Queen Mother said that the reason Wallace had such a hold on Edward was because of certain tricks that she had picked up at a brothel in Bangkok. I've wanted to mention that in one of my videos before, but I promise you I kept forgetting, but I thought you would all get a kick out of that because I thought that really compared to Smegs, and I've wondered time and again, what would the Queen Mother say about Smegs? To be 100% honest with all of you, I really don't think that Smegs would have been allowed into the family if the Queen Mother was alive. She would have pulled her daughter to the side and said, Lilibet, no. A divorced American actress with her past? I mean, if I could Google Meghan Markle you know what, and find that picture that I showed you all yesterday. You're telling me MI4 couldn't have? Please. Moving right along. This picture here today in interior Buckingham Palace, we were having a meeting at work today. I use this as my background. And I know what you're all thinking. Of course you did. Right? But you know what? You're saying, B, you're doing too much. I've heard this song before, and I can't remember the girl who sings it. It's like Cash Baby, Cash Doll, Money Girl, Money Doll, Money Baby. Something about money. Anyway, the song goes, and I can't say the words that she uses because they're no words, but she goes, hey, you're doing too much. And then she goes, they tell me I'm doing too much. Shut up, you ain't doing enough. So you tell me I'm doing too much, I'm telling you, you're not doing enough. For today's royal fact, I have King George I, 1714 to 1727. And this is the said king. I've seen Henry VIII wear one of those before. I know they're garters, right? I'm probably wrong. I know you'll correct me if I am. That would be incredibly uncomfortable to wear all day long, wouldn't it? It looks like it would affect the circulation, cut off the flow down to the bottom of your leg. I wouldn't want to go around with all that on all day. Plus, you already have to wear white tights, stockings, all day long. My grandmother called them pantyhose. Whatever. What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, his signature. My, oh my. And look at that. That's the coat of arms, with the unicorn on the right with a crown around its neck. Wow, everybody always says they're looking for the unicorn. Well, there it is. You found it. For the facts, many thought King George I to be unintelligent. Now that sounds familiar. He was unpopular in Great Britain. That also rings true with the unintelligent person who rings a bell. Due to his supposed inability to speak English. Well, proper English, yes. However, his subjects did view him as progressive because he permitted his critics to publish without risk of severe citizenship. That is very interesting because can you imagine Henry VIII allowing suppressive and could you imagine Henry VIII letting the New York Times and Washington Post exist in his reign? or anything that was negative about him? No, of course not. They would send him to the Tower. Okay, where was I? Yes, British sources agree that George was reserved and financially prudent. Now that doesn't sound like the Harkles at all. He disliked to be in the public eye at social events, he avoided the royal box at the opera, and he often traveled incognito to the house of a friend to play cards. You mean he didn't have the equivalent of the 1700 splash news following behind him? What would that be? I guess that would be a bunch of struggling artists. They would be following behind him with their canvas and their charcoal pencils. Right? He would send over his messenger, because they didn't have Twitter back then, He would send over his messenger, be like, hey, the king's about to go out. Anyway, I'm being too much, right? Okay, I'm going to move along. I saw this very interesting on Twitter, and today we're going to talk about how Smegs controls her hapless, half-witted hubby, whose name I refuse to say, but it starts with an H. Okay, look at this. This person on Twitter said that it's not sweet, it's controlling. The way she holds his hand and then holds his arm. Okay, I looked at this for a while today and I really thought about it. What's going on here psychologically? I've watched the body language expert analyze the two of them before, and this person said that she appears to be someone who's very insecure when the two of them are together, okay? I only saw them analyzing the two of them together. I just want to make that very clear. I have seen on YouTube interviews with her on late night talk shows, I believe it was Craig Ferguson, and other talk shows. Before she was with Harry, she was promoting Suits or that stupid Hallmark movie that she was in and whatnot. She didn't strike me as someone who was very insecure. My nose was itching, I'm sorry. And no, I haven't been doing the Harkles' booger sugar, okay? She didn't strike me as someone that was very insecure. She seems like someone who's very sure of herself, very sure-footed, shall we say. Okay? And that's not a pun. But look at this one here now. Okay? But what I wanted to say, let me finish, was my initial thought after looking at this for a while was not that she's doing this out of control, like she's trying to hold him back. It is a control thing, but maybe it's a mental control thing. She's got him convinced that she's shy and that she's insecure, and when they go out in public, she's nervous about the photographers because that feeds into his paranoia about the photographers. Remember in the Africa interview, he said that when he hears the click, it takes him back and it depresses him and wah, wah, wah. Yes, we all remember. So I think she's doing this to feed into that insecurity, because look at here. She's making that pose again in the portrait. Okay, and I have something to say about that pose a little more. She's making that pose again there and looking down, okay? And in all fours, she's holding the hand and holding the forearm as well with her other hand. Okay, so I was thinking that this is her mental control over him. She's got him convinced that she is insecure, and she's obviously not. She's scared of the public gaze, and we know that she's not that. Because if she was, she wouldn't have made the tape that I showed a still frame from yesterday. I'm not going to say any more about that. But, yeah, she's got him under mental control, okay? And this pose, I think that this pose plays into the same thing. You see, when they're out in public, she stares at the camera. She'll eye that camera, make sure she's in the shot. He's looking away. He's not focused on it. But in official portraits, like the one we just looked at for Time, that's the first official portrait they've released since they left the royal family. She does that in the official portraits, like the engagement portrait, the wedding portrait, because he'll look at those, they'll approve them, to play into that narrative even more, that she is insecure and shy about the press and the public and all that. And we know that she's clearly not. 100%, absolutely not a doubt in my mind she's not. But this is all to play into that and to control him psychologically, and he can't leave her because she's a scared little bird and I have to hang on to you. But in this one here now, it does look like she's holding him back, like, you know, you walk in front of me because you are the royal, but don't walk too far in front of me. Don't forget your place. And maybe that's what it's about when I look at this. You know, it could be both. It could be a mixture of both, okay? But it's not something sweet that she does, I love you so much, because we've all been in relationships. You don't do that. You don't hold on for dear life like that. It's the mental, psychological control. I'm a scared little dove. Protect me. But she's really not. But she's got him convinced that she is. And that's my whole spew about the psychological control. So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm not a professional. I don't have a psychological license, but moving on. And I saw this one as well. The constant self-grooming / merching. It's hard to look away. This pose, and she holds it as well. Apparently, her half-witted hubby is now merching as well. He's got his own Cartier of Chastity bracelet seen in the Time vid. Wow, there's nothing these two won't do for $1 except an honest day's work. I tell you what. It's really sickening to all of us who work 9 to 5 and earn a paycheck. It really is. And we don't have rich friends like Tyler Perry throwing free accommodations in our lap, and our royal family back in England buying us a $14.5 million house for 3 people. Well, not 3. Doria, Marcus Anderson, Maybe Omid Scobie and his current lover. Who knows? I saw this as well, the dark side of Smegs. You can pause and look at all these angry eyes that she's making. You clearly see here in the top two, right? She's making them Duchess of Cambridge. And Smegs right here. Yeah. Oh, looks like she's doing it at the Duchess of Cambridge right there. Or is that the Countess of Wessex? It's not clear enough. I can't tell. Okay, and here we go. Some user pointed out that what's coming out of her hair, I'm sorry, her ear, that hair right there, looks like hair from another part of her body. I didn't come up with that. Another Twitter user did. And then this one right here, this is the last one. This one absolutely disgusted me. I know it's going to disgust you all too. Smegs gave the royals a chance to modernize, and they missed it. Imagine if the palace had rallied around her instead of creating the conditions for megxit. Are you kidding me? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. The Queen of England paid for that wedding out of her own pocket, that ridiculous amount of money, almost 20 million pounds, and you're telling me she did all but roll out the red carpet literally for her. She did not give in to the, what was it, 2 demands? One of them was absolutely outrageous, of spraying St. George's Chapel with her favorite perfume. I guess that would have been Diana's favorite, right? What do you think Henry VIII would have said if she would have suggested spraying that chapel with perfume? You know that's the chapel he's buried in. He would have laughed out loud and then sent her prissy little rear end to the tower. Okay? So don't give us that, lady. And another thing, she didn't let her wear the tiara because she had already promised her granddaughter that one for a wedding in a few months. So no, they did everything they could for Smegs, but she didn't want it. Her whole idea was to marry in, get the title, get the worldwide fame, become the most famous person in the world, move back to Hollywood, drag him along on his leash, and get whatever money and everything she can out of it before she ditches him. I guarantee you, as soon as she thinks she's ridden this pony to the finish line, she's gonna dump him. Okay? Thank you. Oh my. Where's my drink? Let me get a sip before I start. And warm myself out before we're even getting started. Here we go. Smegs calls the shots, not her half-witted hubby, and this proves it. I told you today we were going to talk about control. If ever anyone doubted that Smegs calls the shots in the Harkles' relationship, they use that title of theirs that starts with S. That's a no-no here. Their relationship, this proves, in my opinion, that she does. Look at this. Here we go. This is another shot of them just out in public, not an official portrait. See, he's looking away, and she's looking at the camera. And the photographer should be grateful to him. He was kind enough to put in what they were thinking at the time. And Harry was thinking, cameras? I'm scared. Ooh, he hears those clicks, right? And Smegs was thinking, look at the camera, work, pose, sachet, chante. If any of you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, you'll get that reference. The debate over who calls the shots in the Harkles' relationship, ooh, I missed one there, sorry about that. The Harkles' relationship has raged on for a long time. I believe what happens over December and January will answer this question definitively. For what it's worth, I don't think it's simply her half-witted hubby. There has always been a lot of gossip and talk about who actually calls the shots in Smegs' and her hapless hubby's relationship. Some onlookers believe that Smegs pulls her husband's strings like some modern-day puppeteer who, while others think that her half-witted hubby is nobody's fool and at almost 40 years of age, he calls his own shots. If Harry... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say his name. Oh my goodness. You hear that? I slapped myself on the wrist. If the half-witted hubby was a puppet, I hoped that he would be Pinocchio, so every time he told a fib, his nose would grow just a little more. By the end of tomorrow, his nose could reach all the way back to the UK from LA. Moving right along. I wish I had a drummer in the background who could do that every time I land a one-liner like that. He could go like they do on the late night shows. Anyways, I already read that one. Granted, there's far more who believe the former than the latter, which is understandable considering the antics we've seen from the Harkles that they've gotten up to of late. The needs of her half-witted hubby have always come second to the wants of Smegs. Really? Insightful. I know my belief that Smegs and what she wants comes first over anything in her husband's life will have some readers spewing hatred towards me, and that's fine. It's what I believe, though. Disagree with me? Where does the couple live now? How many of her husband's friends are involved in the couple's life? It's a classic control tactic, and when it's used by men to control their wives, it's called out far more often. So true. Nobody thinks about it when it's the other way around, do they? And this is a clear picture of psychological control. Remember what I said earlier about holding his forearm and his hand? I'm a scared puppy. Protect me. Protect me. And we all know she's not. If a man were to basically cut his wife's friends and family out of her life and move her away from everything she's ever known to a part of the world where his friends and his family surround her, how would that be seen, do you think? Exactly. Now, I'm not saying her half-witted, hapless hubby is an entirely innocent party in all of this, but if you think there's not an element of control going on, then you're either ignoring the facts or you are incredibly naive. After all, we know how it works, right? What Smegs wants, Smegs gets, even if it's not what her half-witted hubby wants. What was I going to say? No, I'm sorry. Her half-witted hubby is not innocent in all of it. He's allowed her to pull the wool over his eyes through her use of the tricks that she learned from Wallace Simpson's instructors. He's allowed all of this and convincing him to move and give up his family who loves him and cares about him. No, he's not innocent. Half-witted hubby's family have been treated abysmally by the Harkles. Once again, I'm not going to claim that the half-witted hubby is innocent. Still, I find it quite difficult to believe that he alone is the reason why his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, reportedly hasn't seen his son, Archofficial, since November of 2019. Have relations broken down so much that the half-witted hubby is happy to ditch his family, a family that he was incredibly close with up until a short while ago? I know some will accuse me of being paranoid or even looking to blame Smegs for everything. I also know all about the excuses for the hapless hubby and Archofficial not visiting with Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, and Prince Charles over the past year. There's been lockdowns and all of that. Look, I get it. However, a new development has arisen that doesn't sit quite right with me. Let me stop right there. They take private jets wherever they go. If he wanted to visit his family, all he has to do is ring-a-ling his BFF, Tyler Perry, and maybe a little bit more, Tyler Perry, and ask if he can borrow the private jet, or Smegs could put in the call to Oprah and ask if they could borrow her private jet. Well, Smegs wouldn't do that much for him to go visit his family. The only reason he hasn't gone to visit the family is because she won't let him go. Absolutely 100% dynamo on the spot. She won't let him go. It's part of her control thing. She's isolated him from his family to keep that blanket of absolute 100% mind alteration, brainwashing, control factor, all that going with him. Smegs is required in the UK for her court case. Half-witted hubby and Archofficial will be with her. See? If he wanted to come, he very well could. He could hop on a private jet right now, quarantine for 2 weeks, and visit his grandparents anytime he wanted to. Get real now. He can come and visit anytime he wants. This is hogwash. Speaking to Vanity Fair on the Harkles, I missed another one, decision not to travel to the UK for Christmas. A source claimed global travel has been made very complicated by what's going on, and at the moment, Half-Witted Hubby has no plans to travel back to the UK, certainly not before Christmas. The problem is, if he comes over, then he has to quarantine, and that makes things quite difficult. What, he would be away from her for 2 weeks? Boo-hoo. The world has seen greater tragedies, I assure you. I would understand this stance if the Half-Witted Hubby and archofficial were not reportedly accompanying Smegs to the UK for a court case on January 11th. Of course they are. She's not going to let him alone for 5 minutes. He would make a phone call and talk to somebody from his previous life, aka before he married her, and they would talk stuff into his ear that she wouldn't want him to hear. That's exactly why, when they're together, she can control the cell phone. I bet that thing stays in her pocket. He probably doesn't get any alone time. She's got cameras and recording devices planted all over that Montecito estate. Talk about PI investigation. That's right, seeing her half-witted hubby's family for the holidays, for what could sadly be the final Christmas for Prince Philip or even Queen Elizabeth, considering their advanced years, is not a priority. Do you know, I just thought, back in the day, if this was Henry VIII's day, even talking about the death of the king, the monarch, would be a reason for execution. That paragraph right there, that would be a no-no. Especially that's about the Queen. Oh my, yes. Oh, and what I wanted to say is, Smegs thinks that she's the person who wrote that last tweet I showed. I'm sorry, I'm just going on today. The person who wrote that last tweet I showed criticizing the royal family, it also made me think about Henry VII, the father of Henry VIII. When his son Prince Arthur died and left Catherine of Aragon widowed, do you know how horribly he treated Catherine of Aragon? He didn't give her any allowance. He put her up in a cold, dank palace. It probably smelt as bad as St. George's Chapel. He put her up there, didn't give her any money. She barely had food to eat, just the bare necessities. She wore tattered clothes because he wouldn't even give her the money for clothes. And Smegs thinks she had about $100,000 she had for that one maternity gown that she wore. Please, come on. This is why they make me absolutely sick. Okay? Let me continue. But when it comes to Smegs and her court battle, absolutely a priority. That's why, for me, it's plain to see who calls the shots in the Harkles' relationship, and it ain't simply half-witted, hapless hubby. These are a couple of comments people left on that article I just read. If you want to read them, pause it and read them, but I've been going on long enough, and I have a couple of more things I want to get to. A few comments from yesterday's video about that expensive outfit that she wasted all that money on. I mean, please. What happened to Travelist, their senior care endeavor? Netflix, BLM, money transferred from charity to Travelist, money transferred to Doria's account, her paying her taxes? Did they take the elephant money, what was it, $3 million or $300,000, I can't remember right now, and paid off the taxes that Doria went to jail for? Who knows? We haven't seen the receipts about what they did for with that money, if they really gave it to charity. Yeah, and we haven't heard her preaching about those bandwagons that she was on in her Zoom calls from a couple of months ago. Equality for mankind and all that. Yeah, maybe that's not a hot button enough issue for her anymore, so she's moving on. Wallace and Edward look like they are together, a couple. On Hapless Hubby and Smegs' picture, it's all about her. He could have been a lamp or a plant. No connection between them. If Smegs were a plant, though, she would be a Venus flytrap. And Harry... B! Come on now. And the hapless red-headed hubby would be the said fly. That pig probably wants to rent out the place so that actual stars will shoot scenes or videos there and she can hit them up for acting jobs. I am wondering where Harry's right hand is. Is he protecting his rugby balls from his puppet master? Photoshopped. There y'all go again of accusing Smegs of using Photoshop. How dare you? You see how my voice went up a few notches there? Very impressive. Something is off about this picture. Can't put a finger on it though. Photoshopped. Why would you want to put a finger on the Harkles? Socially distance, please. Your food looks great. You make me laugh. P.S. I never heard of her wearing anything a second time before. Me either. That's quite an achievement for her. Mark this date down on your calendar, please. Smegs wore something twice. OMG. You love Cartier tank watches. My mother had one. It must be fate. Yeah, Prince Dum Dum walked right into that one, didn't he? You know, about the half-witted hubby, I have to say, he is so dum-dum, he wouldn't know what he was walking into if all the lights were on and the sign was right there saying what the name of the room was. That over-the-top pose as a suitcase girl with her silly mouth open, smile, looks like she must have a feather up her rear end. Huh, a feather up her rear. Wanda Sarah Brennick says, you are so gross. You are not funny at all. Aw. Love you too. What have we learned today? I did it again, didn't I, everyone? I sure as heck did. Here we go. My. You're so terrible, Bee. Number 1. Doria and Smegs are on the hunt for prey. Cue the hapless hubby stage right. 2. I wish Alice a very happy belated birthday. 3. Mrs. Harkle would never use Photoshop. And still, I'm insulted at the insinuation. I'm insulted for myself and for Mrs. Harkle. Number 4. Smegs possibly could have learned her tricks at the same establishment as Wallace, according to the Queen Mother. Number 5. I teleworked from Buckingham Palace today. Number 6. Smegs' hapless hubby is nobody's fool. He is a fool all unto himself. Number 7. Archofficial could come to the UK at any time, throw him in his box, slap a few stamps on there, and stick it in the post. Oh my. Did I use a gender-neutral pronoun for Archie, saying stick it in the post, when he is quite clearly a male plastic baby doll? Shame on you. Shame, I know your name, and it is Bizzy Bee. Number 8. The only senior care endeavor the Harkles are embarking on is caring for Senior Smegs' bank account. Top priority. Number 9. Smegs' hapless, half-witted hubby looks like a houseplant in the new portrait, which is ironic, because he has the brain of a houseplant. Number 10. Smegga-Saurus doesn't ask for parts. She lies down and gets intimate with someone in hopes of being given the part. And that's why she doesn't get it. Number 11. Smegs' hapless hubby's right hand was not holding his rugby balls. He checked those at the door of St. George's Chapel. Just to remind you, that's the one that stinks. Number 12. Mingy Cringy wore something twice, which either means you know where froze over, or the designer is paying her and she will have the opportunity to repost it on Megan's mirror, which means a super mega merching opportunity. And the crowd goes wild. Number 13. A feather up Smegs' rear end? Was that included in the price or added on at the end? Times are rough as she is wearing things twice. Did I rhyme there? Price twice? I sure did, and I didn't mean to. Number 14. Y'all, Wanda is real sweet, and I like her a lot. Oh, my goodness, I just slipped into my Paula Deen voice. I'm so sorry about that. So sorry about that, y'all. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. Stop. Thank y'all so... Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I really, really do. It means the world to me that you've taken the time to watch this video all the way to the end. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like, comment, and hit the notification button as well. Have a great evening, and I will see you all in the next one. And have a good Wednesday. Bye-bye.